Welcome back to Hushed Histories. Tonight, we dive deep into one of Brazil's most shocking and sensational cases, the story of Suzane von Richthofen. It's a tale of love, betrayal, and a brutal murder that rocked a nation. But behind the crime lies a motive that is as chilling as the act itself. Suzane von Richthofen seemed to have it all. Born into a wealthy and prominent family in São Paulo, Brazil, she had a life of privilege and opportunity. Her father, Manfred von Richthofen, was a successful German-Brazilian engineer, and her mother, Maricia von Richthofen, was a respected psychiatrist. They provided Suzane and her younger brother, Andreas, with everything they needed for a bright future. Manfred and Maricia were known for their dedication to their children. They were protective and nurturing, always ensuring that Suzane and Andreas had the best education and upbringing. But this seemingly perfect family was about to face an unimaginable horror. 1999, Suzane met Daniel Cravinhos, a young man from a modest background. Daniel was charming, adventurous, and quickly became the center of Suzane's world. Their relationship grew intense, much to the dismay of Suzane's parents. Manfred and Maricia disapproved of Daniel, believing he was not suitable for their daughter and could jeopardize her future. Despite their parents' objections, Suzane and Daniel's relationship flourished. They bonded over their shared rebellious streak and desire for independence. Suzane felt suffocated by her parents' control and dreamed of a life free from their constraints. But the love Suzane and Daniel shared was not enough to justify the gruesome actions that would soon unfold. As the relationship progressed, so did the tension between Suzane and her parents. Manfred and Maricia's attempts to restrict Suzane's freedom only intensified her resentment. Daniel, seeing an opportunity for financial gain, began to fuel Suzane's anger. He convinced her that with her parents out of the way, they could live a life of luxury on her inheritance. The promise of freedom and wealth became an obsession for Suzane. The couple's discussions soon turned dark. Suzane and Daniel, driven by a toxic mix of love, greed, and a desire for liberation, devised a plan to murder Manfred and Maricia. They believed that eliminating her parents was the only way to be together without obstacles and to access the family's substantial fortune. On the night of October 31st, 2002, Suzane and Daniel, along with Daniel's brother Christian, executed their chilling plan. As her parents slept, Suzane let the Cravinhos brothers into the house. Armed with metal bars, they brutally bludgeoned Manfred and Maricia to death. The attack was swift and merciless, leaving the victims with no chance to defend themselves. The crime scene was a horror show. Blood splattered across the walls, the house in disarray. Suzane's parents were left lifeless, their dreams for their children shattered in an instant. After the murders, Suzane and the Cravinhos brothers staged the scene to look like a botched robbery, hoping to divert suspicion away from themselves. Initially, the police bought the story, but as investigators dug deeper, they noticed inconsistencies. Suzane's behavior was peculiar. She showed little grief, and her actions seemed calculated. She quickly moved to secure her inheritance, raising eyebrows among the investigators. Under intense interrogation, the Cravinhos brothers' facade began to crumble. Christian, the younger brother, cracked first, revealing the gruesome details of the plan. He described how Suzane had orchestrated the entire plot. manipulating both him and Daniel to carry out the murders. In the sensational trial that followed, the public was captivated by the shocking details. Suzane was portrayed as a cold and calculating mastermind, a far cry from the dutiful daughter she had appeared to be. The prosecution painted a damning picture of Suzane's greed and her willingness to kill her own parents for financial gain and freedom. The media frenzy around the case was intense. The public was horrified by the betrayal and brutality of the crime. Suzane von Richthofen became a symbol of twisted ambition, a figure who had sacrificed her family for personal gain. In 2006, Suzane was convicted and sentenced to 39 years in prison. Daniel and Christian Kravanos received slightly lesser sentences, but were also held accountable for their roles in the murders. Today, Suzane remains behind bars, a notorious figure in Brazilian history. Suzane von Richthofen's story is a chilling reminder of how far some will go for love and money. The toxic mix of a controlling household, a manipulative lover, and the lure of a vast inheritance drove Suzane to orchestrate one of the most shocking crimes in Brazil's history. It's a tale of a family torn apart by greed and manipulation, leaving a legacy of pain and betrayal. Thank you for watching Hushed Histories. Don't forget to like, share for more true crime stories that uncover the darkest corners of humanity. Hush History.